It's that time of the month when my favourite beacon-related magazine's released. V is for Venturer. The word Venturer is the name of two long-standing artefacts in Beacon's history. It's the name given to Stephen Brown's ship, and it's the name of the club's monthly magazine. But the name of the ship of Stephen Brown came first, and it was inspired by quite a different type of vessel. My first travel abroad to France was on a ship called the Viking Venturer, and it seemed appropriate to use the name Venturer for Stephen Brown's ship. But Venturer has not always been the name of the club's magazine. Let's take a trip down the theoretic route back to the summer of 1988. I'd been producing Stephen Brown on audio tape for about a year, and had realised I'd accumulated enough material to make it into some sort of newsletter for the club members. Interviews with the cast, previews, reviews and news all made up the 4-page Stephen Brown newsletter. And issue 1 came out on the 1st of September 1988. Gradually, more and more people contributed to the newsletter, and by which case there were enough articles to make it into a 10 to 12 page magazine from this issue, issue 26, October 1990. By December 1996, we'd reached our 100th edition of Venture magazine with this very special publication that sort of looked back over the first 8 years and 100 issues. By the end of the 1990s, the magazine was read by several people who subscribed to it. The interest was high, but to new members who had joined the club, the name of the magazine was a little confusing. New projects such as Strawberry Fields and Tales of the Unexpected were also being produced alongside Stephen Brown, and yet the magazine, which covered all those productions, was still called Stephen Brown Magazine. Up until this, issue 137 in January 2000, because the very following issue, number 138, not only introduced the new Stephen Brown, Chris Wilkes, but also the new name for the magazine, Venturer. And it stayed the same name ever since. Issue 200 came along in April 2005, and this was a bit of a landmark issue, because at this point our subs changed so that every time that somebody rejoined their subs with Beacon, they would also get the club's magazine. At the time, it was printed by local photocopying firm Callquick, who sponsored the Stephen Brown series on local TV. This partnership with Callquick came to a natural end in 2006, and there was a lot of concern about the future of the magazine. But club members helped to print off editions until soon the magazine became online only. In 2013, we reached issue 300, and then in 2021, the 400th edition of the magazine appeared. At the rate we're going, at 12 issues a year, it will take us to January 2030 to reach issue 500 of the magazine. So normally the magazine is about 20 pages long, and first of all it starts off with planning. Yes, there is planning that goes into the magazine, and usually it's just a little sheet like this where I just write down the page numbers and what I think is going to be in the magazine. And there are things that are always in place. Obviously there's always the cover, there's always the contents page, there's always the back page. Usually the 4 pages that are before the back pages is normally an archive, so we'll pick something from Beacon's past and there'll be the storyline and all the production details and credits. Around the centre of the magazine is normally our interview. Chris Wilkes, who has been working for the magazine for about 25 years, he will interview a member of the club. He will usually do it by Zoom call. He'll type up the interview, send it to me as a Word document with photographs, and then I'll put it into this format. There's normally photo reports. The photo reports are a nice page filler as well, especially if I'm a little bit busy. They fill up the pages nicely, so it's always great when there's a big filming project going along for the club, because it makes finding content a lot easier. There was always the birthdays, there's always the grapevine, people love to know the gossip. We have our news page, it's always been a constant in the club as well. So I normally start working on the magazine around about the second week of the month, around about sort of like the 10th of the month. And then for the next 3 weeks, a few times a week, I'll work on a page and get it ready. And obviously there's other writer, Simon Sansbury does our reviews as well, so he sends that across. and I try and get the magazine out around about the first Tuesday, Wednesday of the month. That's always the plan anyway. Venture magazine though has got two kind of purposes. Not only is it sort of a form of entertainment, it's a nice thing for the members to read and get up to date with the club and to learn a bit about its history, but also it's a brilliant way to store all those bits of history, all the facts and photographs all in one place. And over the last 415 issues, goodness knows how many thousands of pages and how many words have been printed under the names of Stephen Brown Magazine and Venture Magazine. As surprised as I am that Beacon is still running into its 36th year, the fact that magazine is still running alongside it is astonishing to me. I just never expected it. There's so many times I thought, oh, we'll wrap it up soon. But while the interest is there, while the members are still reading the magazine, while there's stuff to report in the magazine, then it still has its place. And I suppose the magazine could well run as long as the club.